when I went to Amsterdamse Orkestgebouw and I was listening to an orchestra, then you hear an orchestra and you hear a living beast. It can go very loud, it can be very quiet. It will impress you, but it's one beast. And what I find by some audiophiles, they want to have everything more separated. Is that how you listen, or are you listening as the whole, as one beast?
Yeah, I mean, as I, I'm beginning my audio journey in many ways. I've been lucky enough that I get to I've worked in Abbey Road. I've worked in CTS. These major studios that have produced some of the world's greatest records. I've been in the box. I've heard it. I've also been in the box of recording vans who are trying to recreate a little studio in the back of a van. I've been in home studios, and I'm always amazed that you've got somebody in control who is trying to create an
atmosphere.
An atmosphere in so many different ways that we are all chasing after something that doesn't exist.
No.
And if I go and hear a concert in the Concertgebouw, let's put it this way, I would say 80% of my record collection is live. As in, I'm immediately attracted to the live album.
Yeah.
Genesis live. I think they did two actually, but the old one. It makes me want to be there.
Yeah.
And I can feel the nowadays the bass is ridiculous in live concerts. It's crazy. It's not bass anymore. It's just a sort of vibration. But when such things, massive subwoofers didn't exist, that for me was as good as it gets for what you can hear, and of course what you can feel a little bit. And in a good symphony hall, you won't be sort of forced backwards by the vibrations. It will land in your body, and that's what I like. And you're basically doing that just through your ears a lot of the time because you're not physically feeling anything. And that's the essence for me of a great recording, that it can recreate this feeling that I'm getting when I'm there live. And I find that more exciting. I find live recordings more exciting than studio recordings.
Yeah, for me it's the same. If I listen to music, I want to hear the orchestra, and I don't want to hear the individuals playing.
That's not how it was written,
no,
in my opinion. That great composers wasn't thinking, now we need to shut everything up and just the flute will come out of the left-hand side. That's not how it was. Some did, of course, put the effects but in general, as a general sort of symphonic through the Romantic and the modern era, the last 200 years, that's not what they intended. So, but that doesn't mean that recreating that in your home is a bad thing.
No.
It's just I frankly have not got the time or the inclination to do it. But I'm always hugely in admiration of people that have got the time and the knowledge and quite frankly the money to be able to create this whole new different sound which is completely different from what it was actually originally meant to do.
Yeah.
That in itself is an art.
Yeah.
And so it's can you say it's wrong or it's right?
No, it's not wrong or right, because if you like it, you like it.
And there it is. The fact that I'm looking around this room and we have the ability to do that, I think is really cool. And that I can sit and I can create a setup that totally suits me as an individual I just think is awesome. And that is, of course, the unfortunate thing with iPod earphones or whatever, that we've got one person's version of how it should sound, and that's going out to millions and millions and millions because they're giving them away. I mean, that moment where we all saw the cabled headphones with iPhones, iPods, that was a bit of a sad time. Luckily, the world is changing, and the fact that normal people are spending fortunes on good quality headphones, earphones, this is a very positive thing, because then they can hear the difference.
I think, it's like eating again. If you sometimes you want to have a quite fast bit, you go to a cafeteria or whatever. But if you have the chance, you want to have a good dinner.
Yeah.
So, and I think if you like music, in time you want to have it. You want to hear it better. So I think that's what.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right.
Another question is, and I think that is a little bit connected to the other question is. I know you listen to different type of music, but what I want to know is what's for you a good piece of music? When do we talk for you, not in general, but what's for you a good piece of music? Well, let's say pop, a symphony. What is one of your favorite composers and why?
Yeah, I have to admit something to you, which I freely admit, and that is that I don't really listen to classical music at home.
Okay.
I'll spend up to 8 hours a day playing it, and when I come home, that is not the flavour I want. I want something else, and I'm in constant pursuit of that record. I have a group of friends and family that we get off on sending each other stuff that we know is going to ring the bell, and for me, what tends to happen is that it always comes down to the quality of musician. So at the moment, I'm into gospel music, which is a whole area that I know very, very little about. But the thing that, certainly in modern gospel, is that the level of musicianship that these guys are doing, they've spent, a bit like jazzers, hours and hours and hours and hours and hours in church, learning, we call it chops, getting their chops together, and then we get to hear this on a record, and quite often, of course, the best stuff is coming out of a live service or a live concert, and so I'm coming new to that, and that then really rings my bell when I've got this amazing combination of, again, the way it's recorded, it makes me feel like I'm there. It's as close as because it's already been and gone. I can't ever do it again, and so often I dare I say, I go to a lot of concerts and I go and I'm always slightly disappointed compared to the. I went to see this amazing Cuban pianist whose records I've been listening to recently, and I saw that he was touring. I went with my brother who flew over from the UK, and we both sat there and thought, oh God, the record's so much better.
Sometimes
it happens.
That's true.
It happens.
Also the other way around.
Sure.
Sometimes you hear a live concert and then you listen to the record and then you think, pff.
Yeah. It's. I mean, that's art. That's culture. That's and of course it all depends on how we were feeling at the time and how he was feeling at the time. We're not machines, but so I don't listen to classical music. So pop and I'm always excited when so Cory Wong, for example, is this amazing guitarist. And there's a few instrumental bands that are coming out: Snarky Puppy, Cory Wong, Corey Henry, the Fearless Flyers. This is this sort of same group of this pool of unbelievably talented, gifted musicians who are turning their gifts to creating pop music. And all the offshoots of all of that, I love all of that. All these amazing drummers and bass players, and and all their projects. So that's what I'm into at the moment, and that takes up a lot of time. Discovering stuff, and you'll find that a lot of them spend a great deal of time producing a sound, which is very important to them. Yeah. It's not that they're just plugging in and going. It's not at all. They're all audiophiles. They're all at it. They've all got these amazing pedals and whatever, and they understand the difference between playing live and playing recorded music, and it's two different disciplines. And many of these, Snarky Puppy, for instance, would take a recording van with them and record every single gig, and then an hour later you could buy it.
That's cool.
Print it on CDs. Back in the day. And it sounded amazing. It sounded, you could sort of get that as near as, because it's already gone, you could get back to that moment if you loved it. And I thought, these people understand, and there's a lot of them. So, and yet at the same time, I listen to, modern records now pop records, and I'm quite a lot of the time I'm quite disappointed. It has to be said. So I veer more towards the musician at the moment. But there are many years that I could happily listen to sugary coated, nasty saccharine pop and love it, absolutely love it. So as you get older, of course, your tastes change enormously, and I look for things that really, really dig deep into my human quality. And but I also have a 2.5-year-old son, so
K3, you listen also.
Actually, my daughter, one of my daughters is a massive K-pop fan.
Okay.
And I have to say, I listen to it and I think it's good. It's good. There's a reason why. I mean, I wouldn't buy it, but a lot of those tunes, I thought, wow, this is amazing. There's a whole culture out there that I don't know. Maybe I should get into that. But then there's sort of a little bit weird that I would be listening to teenagers now. But and I'm listening to Bluey and Bingo a lot, and Winnie the Pooh and stuff. So my playlists have changed somewhat. Like my Netflix account is just full of Teletubbies. Yeah. It's not what I'm actually watching. But anyway.
But if there is no music, do you then still hear music?
Yeah.
So is there always music in your mind?
Yeah. It's a sort of form of craziness. And I'll give a tip to you and to anybody that happens to be watching. If you're feeling miserable, sing a song.
Yeah.
It's an instant hit. It just does it. Sing any song, actually. But, at the moment my little boy is discovering what a song is and, words and, he can sing alarmingly well in tune. You should see him with the ball, it's pathetic, but he can sing in tune. I don't know where he gets that from. But anyway, music is so natural to us. Singing is just so, I say to all my students, if you're wondering where a phrase should go, sing it. To put the bass down, sing it, and then recreate because there's no interference between your heart, your soul, and your voice. You just sing it. And so it solves almost everything every time. Sing a song to somebody, you've got their attention.
Yeah.
If you're feeling a bit down, sing a song before taking the pills.
Yeah.
Go and sing. Go and join a choir, actually. It solves everything, really. And then if you're lucky enough to be able to play an instrument as well, sing with that instrument. I do a lot of singing. Singing is just a vital part of being alive.
Is that something we want to hear, you singing?
No. No. Actually, I force it on my audiences. I quite often sing in my theatre shows, but only as a sort of trick, if you like.
Yeah.
But no, I've got a terrible voice. Terrible, appalling. But that's what I do if God forbid my batteries run out of my headphones, I'll just, hum, whistle. There's always music to be heard. There's always rhythm to be heard. Of course I'm ultra sensitive to it. At the same time, it drives me nuts if I've got somebody who I can hear it coming out of their earphones, something, if I'm on the train or somebody's looking at something on their telephone they've not plugged in and you can hear it coming out the speaker. That's enough really to make me like mass murder that I could, on an aeroplane, in a restaurant, I go nuts for the music that is played in restaurants. My wife hates it. But if we walk in and the music is wrong, or it's too loud, or it's too soft, and all you can hear is a sort of buzz, and I know that it's a good restaurant. There's one here that's extremely good. They've set up a really good system, and I spoke to the owner about it, and he said, "Yeah, of course. I mean, it's music and food."
It's wonderful. Yeah, it's wonderful.
The way he sort of looked at me, like, "Of course I did." I was like, "Well, you know that most don't. They just stick up any kind of small white speaker, which has got a girl's name, and that's it. That's their. Of course it's going to. That really bothers me. So it's more that without music I could survive. With music gives me more issues.
Listening to music, what is your preferred medium? Is that record, CD, streaming?
I've chosen cars because of the stereo system, the music system in the car. It's obviously where I spend the most amount of time, and I drive a lot. So I have not bought cars because it doesn't have a decent audio system, which is ridiculous. But the great pop records, Prince, for instance, would take it out of his studio, go sit in his car, put it in his car, and if it sounded good in the car, it sounded good.
Yeah.
Because that's where most. So I think if I'm going to play a record, a recording in my car, and it sounds good, those people have worked out that it's who it is.
Yeah, but my question is more about.
In the car is the medium that I listen to it the most.
So
because I'm
CD?
often alone. No, it's streaming.
Streaming. Okay.
I'm often alone, and I always tweak it to so if you're a passenger in my car and we listen to music, it's horrible. It's just tweaked to me, and I'm a bass guy, of course. So I need something that's going to override the vibrations of the road. So right now I'm very lucky that it's very English. I have a Jaguar, which is very, very smooth and nice, and it's got fantastic stereo in it, and I'm
happy with that.
I'm extremely happy with that. But of course, there's nothing better than sitting on a couch at home when everyone's gone to bed and just putting on a quiet recording. I'm not a super loud guy. A nice quiet. If you can hear everything at a 20-25% volume,
you're happy.
Yeah, I'm super happy then.
But then, do you play? You say record, a real record, or do you mean a CD or?
No, I mean I have had a hiatus as this whole streaming world. For many years, I didn't have a CD player. That sort of went, I think, probably with my ex-wife, and I just sort of and have been unbelievably busy. But luckily I didn't throw anything away. I didn't throw any of my CDs away and or any of my records, and just kept them in boxes, and somehow knew that it would all sort of come back again. And now, thanks to you, I'm able to sit and have the pleasure of putting on a record, and that moment of as the track starts, it gives me enough time to be able to sit down and just okay, this is, and then away I go.
Yeah.
Away I go. Where I'm going to go, I don't know. But for me, that's when I just become a consumer like everybody else. My musician life just disappears, and I know that I have the same feeling when I'm listening to a great record on a great system as any other person. I'm just really in a very happy place, and that's what music. The power of music is to take me to a happy place, and I don't know what else is.
I think that's most important. What you're saying, you should. Our quote is sitting with a big smile on your couch or chair if you're listening to your music, and that should it do. So.
And what's interesting, of course, is that if I were to then invite you round and you sat next to me, you would have a completely different experience, and because of course I've now got used to my sort of thing, and you, but I am able to. Or maybe you are as well, able to just switch off the professional side and just sit and enjoy. And that takes some training.
Well, I can do, because for me, I'm never invest in car audio.
Right.
Because I know it can sound better. So I'm only annoying myself.
Right.
But I can enjoy music in my car. So I can sing along with my favorite music.
Sure.
So for me in the car, it's not important. Because I know when I'm come home or here in the showroom that I can enjoy even better. So
is it even possible to get a really great sound out of a car?
In my perspective, not. But there are people now are willing to kill me. But that's my opinion, because you have a lot of back noise, etc., etc. But for the other side, I'm always wondering, and maybe you disagree with me, but people are sometimes too serious about music. For me, if I see listening to classical music, how people who are into classical music who are so serious, and then I think, but was he so serious about music, Beethoven, Bach, or they wanted just to entertain and make something beautiful, but they were not. Sometimes I think the discussion goes further than the composer meant. That's what I'm.
I understand that,
and that is also that is also what I meant by listening in a car. Or of course we have expensive audio equipment, and if you have the money and you can spend it, then you will enjoy the music at the best level possible. But you can also enjoy music just listening in the car. Whatever audio system,
sure.
and that's for me more important, I think. But
I'm going to pick you up on a point that you made, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
I am going to disagree with you,
that's
actually, in that. Sure, people take classical music very seriously, but religion has not got that many laughs either, and nor has sport. And in my opinion, you've got three sort of basic things in the world as far as entertainment is concerned. You've got religion, sport, and music, or art. They're all basically the same thing. Take one of them away, and the two fall down. The two that connect, the music connects all three of them, if you see what I mean. Because there's no religion without music, and there's no sport without music, because all the chanting and all the singing and all of that kind of stuff is all music. And when you get the fanatics, the ones that are really at the high end, who really, really, really care, they're not laughing about it. It's very serious. And I see that in religion, I see that in sport, and I see that in music. And do I want to hang with those people? No. I mean, I service those people, but, to take music so seriously, no. It's a form of entertainment.
Yeah.
And religion is just a belief. The sport is just a game. You can bring it down to a more sort of do normal.
We have a saying, of course, if te in front of a word, then it's not maybe the right approach.
Right.
Too much.
Right. Exactly. And so I am right at the very high end of classical music. I am in one of the greatest symphony orchestras in the world, and we play what is considered to be the greatest types of music in the world. I'm Mahler through and through. I'm in the middle of a Beethoven opera right now. I mean, it's as high art as you can come across. The people that are playing it are giggling their way through it. It's all about smiling. But there are a certain percentage of people who really take this incredibly seriously and personally. Okay, let them. And in the same way, I can speak to a football fanatic and I just look at them and go, "You're a complete arsehole. It's a game.
Yeah.
Get a grip." So you're right. But there is space for these people, and where they don't see the humour in it, and a game of football it's just a ball going into a net. What's the matter with you? Calm down. Yeah. But it's really life for these people. I don't like it, and I don't also like the people that speak about classical music in that way. I just don't spend any time with them. But it's also my profession to service them.
Yeah, I can understand.
It's kind of strange.
For me, it's more like, it's about enjoyment. You have to bring over the passion of the conductor, and that, in my opinion, that's it. And of course you are free. What we just talked about, how to interpret that.
Yeah. But you got the parent, you got the dad on the sideline shouting at his son because he's not playing very well. That for him is enjoyment. Yeah. That's him going on Saturday morning watching his boy and abusing his boy on the side of it in front of everybody, so everybody can hear, and everybody else is like, what the hell's the matter with him? He's having the best time of his life. Yeah. And you'll also have people who really find what I do really offensive. Really offensive. How can you say that a Stevie Wonder album is the same as a Mahler symphony? Well, because it is. It's my truth.
Yeah.
And I've really upset them.
Yeah, but that's funny because we're going now quite seriously. But for me, that's there are no rights and wrong in music because we have our own interpretation about what we feel, and you cannot discuss with me what I feel. You cannot say you cannot feel happy about this type of music because it's not good music, but it makes me happy. So who are you to telling me I cannot?
Right, but you can have the same discussion with people who are extremely serious about religion. This is the word of the Lord, and if you there isn't just one word of the Lord, and if you disagree with it, then you are wrong.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
But that's a pity.
Absolutely. Thank God.
For me, it's a pity.
Thank God. I mean, I'm going to be a little bit controversial now. That if I was to say the word Muslim, that's what we think of. We think of these sort of, preaching, doing horrible things for the word of God and blowing each other up and all of that kind of stuff. But of course, 99.9% of Muslims are beautiful, normal human beings who just happen to follow. And it's exactly the same with classical music. Of course, there are people who are like, this is the way it should be, and they happen to scream the loudest. But 99% of all classical music lovers just love the music, and that's it. And
it's the same that some criticism is that André Rieu, it's not my type of music, is not really classic. But he brings so much joy to so many people. So I would say embrace him because he brings a genre of music to a lot of people who will never otherwise came into classical music. Well,
I don't know if they're coming into classical music as a are they then going to go to a symphony concert? Probably not.
Maybe, so, maybe not.
And who cares?
Yeah.
It's
but they
not,
just enjoy the music.
Let's take Andre is a great example. I've met him on a few occasions, always an incredibly happy experience for me. Really a great guy, and I know a lot of his musicians who are fantastic musicians, really great. But you speak to Andre about music, you talk to him about Lehar, about Strauss, about these great composers, and his eyes light up. He's a real, genuine musician who has created this world around him where he's able to play the music that he really loves. What's the difference between that and Pink Floyd?
Nothing.
That's it. And so then the albums that he's creating and the live shows he's creating, what's the difference between that and Pink Floyd Live or Genesis or, one of the big Rolling Stones or the big, the mega bands? Nothing. It's all just great music.
Yeah. And I think that's I think where we should go to. Yeah. That people should be not distracted from what other people are saying or thinking.
People get rather judgmental, don't they?
Yeah.
And I think that's a shame because we can, you and I have different music tastes, and we could sit down and try and impress one another with our own types of music all day long.
Yeah.
I mean, just when we're testing stuff, I play one type of music, you play a different type of music, and we both feel passionately about it. Good.
Yeah.
Thank God.
And that is, I think, and that's why how I want to end this this interview is that the most important thing about music is you decide which music you like and how you want to listen to it. And there is no wrong or rights.
And the great thing about, dare I say, I'm going to bring it back to your shop, is that clearly you've started to make some choices about how it is that you want to consume this music. And so there's a really good chance that you're going to be sat by yourself with this amazing equipment around you. And that is, you shouldn't feel guilty about that. It's one of the greatest things in the world to sit, put on record, put on a CD, whatever it is, and sit by yourself and consume music. It is a worthy and decent thing to do.
Yeah.
And that's you've really enter into your own world and that, sort out your own thoughts. And this is what life is. Yeah. You're on your own little journey, find your own little space, set up your beautiful audio system, sit and enjoy music just like that.
For me, it's also something like energy, If I start to work and I have the time, I'm mostly a little bit earlier than the thing goes open, or I have to go. Then I go to sit, take my coffee,
there it is.
Enjoy,
and
then it gives me the energy to start the day.
Absolutely. I would recommend getting a good coffee machine with your audio equipment because the two together.
It's good. Or a nice wine or whiskey.
Or a cigar. Yeah, okay.
So thank you for your time.
It's a great pleasure.
And maybe till next time.
Yeah, sure. Well, there's a lot still to talk about, but music is life.
I think the batteries are empty. Okay, thank you again, and hope to do another one.
Absolutely.